feels like a paper cut sting.
For 20 years, this Brazilian farmer has been performing operations with unsophisticated medical instruments and without anaesthetic. He claims that spirits of the dead are working through him.
Com 45 anos,
God gave me this mission, and all the work that is carried out here is carried out by God and the compassionate spirits.
Many say they have experienced miraculous cures, but the evidence for this is anecdotal, not scientific. So if they have, is the key their faith or the ability of the man they call John of God? Overlooking a tropical valley in central Brazil is the village of Abadiânia. It's off the tourist trail, yet hundreds of travellers arrive here every week. Their destination, Casa de Dom Inácio.
There's so many people that come here that the doctors have given a week or 2 weeks to live, and they jump on a plane without even knowing what to expect here.
The Casa is home to a man rumoured to cure the sick. He does not charge for his services. João Teixeira de Faria receives visitors like a doctor receiving patients. But he is not a doctor. He had no formal education beyond the age of 10. Yet, he apparently carries out medical operations. He does so in an environment that is far from sterile. His subjects often stand, and he never uses anaesthetic. Most of his patients report little or no pain, and there are no documented cases of post-operative infection. His methods confound those trained in Western medicine.
I cannot operate like he does and not have infections. I cannot operate like he does and not have a lot of bleeding, and I cannot operate like he does and not have a great deal of pain. I do not know how he does that.
Dr. Philip Bechtel, a neurosurgeon from Texas, became frustrated by the poor success rate of brain tumour treatment. He began to study alternative forms of healing. This has led him to the Casa de Dom Inácio 11 times.
The really incredible one to me is the eye scraping. You can see the indention on the globe of the pressure of the knife. And I know that those people have not had eye drops put in to anesthetize.
João often treats one part of the body, such as the eye, to cure an entirely different part. Patients undergo the operations willingly, belief and the hope that they may experience a miracle. Roland Nip has been told by his doctor in Honolulu that he needs open heart surgery to repair a defective heart valve. He hopes João will be able to heal him without the operation. 10-year-old Alexander Seisner came from the Netherlands for treatment of a rare degenerative condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, or DMD. Briton Martin Duffy is paralysed from the waist down. He's hoping to be able to walk again. Christy First was in a car crash and is also paralysed. She has made the journey from Florida to Brazil several times. Izzy Salzberg and his wife came to the Casa from Chicago. She is suffering from cancer and is desperate for a cure. Though more sceptical than his wife, he wonders if João can alleviate his depression. Laura von Wagner, also a cancer patient, will soon head to Brazil from Hawaii, accompanied by her husband Ray. For 2 years, Laura has been battling lymphoma, which causes tumours in her neck.
At first, it was just here, now it's here, now it's down here, now it's down here. It's a very aggressive form of cancer. It grows on a daily level. I mean, it grows daily.
Although the cancer is life-threatening, Laura has rejected chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy is poison. They give you chemotherapy, and they see who dies first, the cancer or you. Even if I get chemotherapy, they only expect the remission to last maybe 3 to 4 years. And then they want you to go through it again.
Laura's lymphoma went into remission briefly, but now her cancer has returned.
I don't want to struggle anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. I need to either let go of it, or I don't know that I'll make it.
Laura von Wagner has lymphoma. She and her husband Ray are traveling to central Brazil to visit a healer. They hope João Teixeira de Faria, also known as John of God, will be able to cure her. Laura's doctor, Galen Yee, is not so optimistic. He questions her choice of treatment.
She is going to be spending precious time traveling all the way to Brazil and being away from possibly Western types of medicines that may possibly give her a better chance of treatment. And she may be using this time when she could be here to getting proper treatment.
Dr. Yee's views about the sorts of treatments offered by João are common amongst the Western medical establishment. Some go so far as to say the activities at the Casa de Dom Inácio are fakery. One thing is certain: if people are cured, how this is done has not been explained scientifically. That doesn't matter to Laura. She has put her faith in John of God's hands.
I feel calm. I feel that no matter what happens, I'll be in a better place at the end. So I'm happy. I just feel that being in that energy is going to be so wonderful.
Once at the Casa, that faith will be tested to its limits. Many people come to João expecting an overnight cure for disease, an instant healing of injury. But what they find is that such miracles sometimes need a bit of help and hard work. Christy First has spent a great deal of time at the Casa. She made her first visit a year and a half after breaking her back in a car crash.
It was raining really, really, really hard, and really a car cut me off, and the rest is history. You know, the doctors told me and my family that, you know, I would never have a chance of walking, and really there was no reason to even do therapy. They said just get on with your life and accept it.
Rather than giving up hope, Christy looked for an alternative solution, and her quest brought her to João. If his actions do lead to healing, the question is how. Brazil is at the center of a belief system called Spiritism. Over 2 million Brazilians subscribe to this philosophy, which usually goes hand in hand with a deep faith in Christianity. It asserts that spirits of the dead operate through certain live individuals. In João's case, the spirits are those of medical doctors who were great healers in their day. João goes into a trance, and the spirits operate through him. Dr. Norman Don, a neuroscientist from the University of Illinois at Chicago, has studied trance healers, among them John of God. Such healers claim to have no recollection of what they do during a healing procedure.
In the moment that he prepares to receive the helping spirits that God has honored him with, then he says the prayer. And he receives the spirit, the helping spirit, and then he goes to sleep. He sleeps. He has no memory.
João claims he began communicating with spirits as a young man. when he fell unconscious and channeled King Solomon. Since then, he says he has channeled more than 30 spirits, or entities as he refers to them. These range from St. Francis of Assisi to Osvaldo Cruz, a celebrated Brazilian doctor who died nearly 100 years ago. João believes that these entities have made it possible for him to carry out thousands of procedures. Some are completely non-invasive. Others involve some form of actual operation. Lynn Debenham has first-hand experience of the latter. 6 years ago, João removed a large, benign tumour from her back.
All I was doing at the time, because he came and he closed my eyes, and all I was doing was just with my eyes closed going, please God, don't let him put scissors up my nose, please God, don't let him put scissors up my nose, because I knew he did those.
Lynn had already witnessed João inserting a 10-centimetre long surgical instrument into a patient's nose, a procedure he uses to treat a variety of ailments.
João, now incorporated obviously, came and took me by the shoulders and turned me around to face the wall. So it was a big sigh of relief because I thought, good, no scissors up the nose. And he led me to the triangle, and I stood for maybe about 10 minutes of the operation, and then they brought a stool in, and I sat on that for the rest of it. And he removed the whole thing.
Professor Gary Schwartz, a neuroscientist at the University of Arizona, is a specialist in the afterlife. He has received government funding for his research. Schwartz reviewed the tape of Lynn's operation.
I mean, one of the things that's very clear about this is that this is an intensive amount of cutting with relatively little bleeding. And there's a lot of pulling and tearing of tissue, and yet we do not see this woman showing any manifestation of flinching. We're not hearing any cries.
The initial incision, I felt it was like a paper cut sting, but after that, I could feel everything he was doing, but no pain.
Under normal circumstances, people would be screaming in pain at this point. They would be flinching, and of course the side effect of all this is, of course, you'd see a lot more bleeding.
When I felt that first incision, I gritted my teeth and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to feel this, and it was like, I really thought I was going to feel some pain. But after that initial incision, I could feel everything he did, everything, with putting his finger in and poking around and pulling and twisting.
Any normal individual who didn't want to have physical surgery and then to endure this would also be, you could say, not properly prepared.
And, the whole thing, it came out in 3 pieces, 2 small pieces and then 1 very big piece. And I could feel everything. And it was also like there was a part of me that I could see it, as if I was standing behind me, watching it. But I was fully aware of everything in my body as well, and I wasn't in a trance, I wasn't knocked out, nothing. I was very, very conscious.
It defies any kind of normal expectation.
John of God may be best known for his invasive procedures without the use of anaesthetic. But there is another sort of operation that many of his patients say is just as effective. It happens without physical contact and is known as invisible surgery. In preparation, he takes part in a session that looks like group meditation. But those who have experienced it speak of something more profound.
Just being in there, my heart just was blown wide open, and the energy was fantastic.
These people are in what is called the current room. What is the current? Believers say it is conscious energy, energy that is focused on healing. The concept makes sense to Dr. Amit Goswami, a professor of physics at the University of Oregon. He is one of several renegade scientists who are exploring spiritual answers to scientific puzzles, and vice versa. Dr. Goswami believes that quantum physics may explain how spirits could interact with the material world, how consciousness might live on after the body dies, and how that disembodied consciousness could be channeled.
In the quantum model, things are not things. What I mean is that the objects that we portray in our world are not determined things. Instead, there are possibilities of consciousness to choose.
We have done research, for example, in our laboratory where we've been able to show that people who practice Reiki can affect the cellular growth of E. coli bacteria in a test tube. So we're actually showing that here's a case of conscious intention using a Japanese form of healing is actually affecting cellular function in a controlled context.